That being said, I want to invite our final speaker for tonight, Hajj Hassanain Rajabali. Again, somebody that needs no introduction. He's well known to our community. He's currently living in Dearborn, Michigan, has traveled worldwide giving lectures on Islam, debating with atheists, and teaching others about the religion itself. He initially came to the U.S. in 1974, immigrated from Tanzania, East Africa. He's a graduate at East Colorado with a degree in molecular biology and psychology. Currently, he's an entrepreneur and a philanthropist. And most famously, I think he is the director of Camp Taha, the world's first Muslim-owned camp located in Michigan, and then the principal of Wise Academy, another Muslim-focused school whose facilities are incredible, curriculum is incredible, and the work that he does with the young people especially is renowned. So without further ado, please, Hajj Hassanain.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I begin in the name of God, the Beneficent, the Merciful. And all praise belongs to Him and Him alone. And all the good that you and I do is because of His goodness. And everything returns to Him. And God, in His infinite mercy, has created us and given us this opportunity to exemplify ourselves on this earth in terms of the moral trajectory that you and I need to have. Allah in the Quran states that إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Indeed, the believers are brethren, therefore make peace between each other, right? So that the mercy of Allah comes towards you. So it's very, very essential that God has put a criteria in here that at the center core of the believers, now the human race is also included in many verses in the Quran, but as we say, charity begins at home. And I'm addressing specifically the believers that we have a moral responsibility to unite. And when we talk about unity, it's extremely important for us to understand that we have an obligation on that. Now, let me give a little context and history, but before I do that, I wish to greet you with, in this fantastic program, a program that, as my brother Sami mentioned, and the MC mentioned, and the speakers who preceded me, have done a phenomenal job. Honestly, Dr. Pepper, you did a fantastic job. Pastor Roberto, you did an amazing job. All of you, Pastor Smite, I think it is, yes? It's truly an honor to hear this kind of words being given, of the words of consolation, peace, that there's hope, that the human race has this very peaceful feeling of wanting to bring peace on earth. There's empathy within us. And I bid you all, my dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I'd like to give a little history as to what does God want from us when it comes to unity. We speak about unity. We have to understand what is the divine principle of unity. When God says unite and bury your hatchets, وَاعْتَصُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Hold on to the rope of Allah together and don't differentiate yourselves when it comes to unity. What is it? So I'd like to give a little brief introduction to that. When God created the human race, it's a very, when you understand the principles of unity at this level, and honestly, the human race is sometimes oblivious of this fact. But that's where the ignorance takes control, and ignorance is one of the most devastating things in life. They say if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. It's extremely expensive. So we need to remove ignorance. We need to educate. It's extremely important for us to have a broadness of understanding. And here, this has been very fascinating that God in the Quran describes the whole event of the creation of Adam and Hawa, Adam and Eve, who are our parents. And I want you to reflect on that. They are our parents. I want you to understand, when we talk about unity, it's extremely important to understand what is God doing for us to hold us liable on Judgment Day when we kiss unite. So Allah says in the Quran, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي خَالِقٌ بَشَّرًا مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَإٍ مَسْنُونٍ. God says to the angels, I'm going to create a mortal of the essence of black mud, fashioned in shape. This is in the Quran, Surah Al-Hijr. فَإِلَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. When I have put my spirit into this being, all you angels, bow. Bow to who? To God or to Adam? God is saying, bow to Adam, this being who is my Khalifa, my agent on earth. But you know, in Islam, particularly the principles of Tawheed, it is absolutely forbidden to bow to any human being other than God, unless God commands it. And here there's a principle that's very deep. I won't go into it, but I want you to reflect on it as to why didn't God command the angels. Now, among the angels, as you know, was a creation called Iblis. His original name was Azazel, the devil. We call him the devil. He had many names, Lucifer, Azazel. He was among them because he had elevated his worship at the status of being around angels. But he was not an angel. He's made out of what we call intense fire. And God commanded him also. إِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ. Here in the Malakut, Iblis was included. But this lesson is profound. For God is laying a universal principle that he is not willing to negotiate. And that is why God insists on informing us in the Holy Quran and even in the biblical scriptures about this event that is so crucial, that lays the foundation of the justice of God and how humans should behave. Now, فَإِذَا سَوَيْتُ, and when I have made complete and breathed into me my spirit, fall down making obeisance to him. فَسَجَدَ الْمَلَائِكَةُ كُلُّهُ أَجْمَعُونَ. All the angels bowed. إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى أَنْ يَكُونَ مَعَ السَّاجِدِينَ. Except the devil, he refused to be with those who made obeisance. Now pay attention to this, it's very important. Because the Quran doesn't lie, and it's laying the most fundamental foundation of my origin, who the dictator is when it comes to why you and I are placed on this earth. And you may ask, what is the vision that God wants or the mission that I need to accomplish on this earth? Because this is profound, this is central. And God is showing me, it's like when God does the first thing, it's more important than the second thing and the third thing. Then Allah speaks to Iblis. He refused. Now watch how Iblis answers. And this is going to be the framework of this conversation in the time that I had. He says, قَالَ يَا إِبْلِيسُ مَا لَكَ أَلَّا تَكُونَ مَعَ السَّاجِدِينَ. Oh Iblis, what excuse do you have that you are not with those who make obeisance? Listen to his answer. My God, it's all over around us today in leadership, in people, in all the troublemakers, in the occupiers, the genocidal monsters who are committing all these crimes. Principle is the same, identical, and they think they're going to get away with it. All right, let's study this. Iblis worshipped God for thousands of years. He should have at least had some credit. Yes, God is, he'll tell you, okay, you watch. You make that one move, I'll wipe out your entire credit system. He says, قال لم أكن لأسجد لبشر خلقته من صلصال من حمأ مسنون. I am not such that I should make obeisance to a mortal whom you have created of the essence of black mud fashioned in shape. My God, you want to see an alternate racism, bigotry, narcissism? You name it, it's there. He's talking to God directly, says, how can I bow to this creature? And pay attention, black mud. Now, if you ever listen to a racist or a bigot, it's one thing that really bugs them when you tell them this. There's a theory called the mitochondrial Eve theory. I don't know if some of you are familiar with it, but I'll explain it. If you look at our mitochondria, it's matrilineal in its genetic material. And that enables scientists to figure out our generation and the origin of the generation. And the mitochondrial Eve theory clearly stipulates that there was one woman in Africa who caused the birth of all human beings on earth today. Now that white supremacist racist individual is going to cringe the same way Iblis cringed when God made this being out of black mud, because from black you get white, but from white you don't get black. And interestingly, why didn't God create multiple Adams? Because people ask the question, why one Adam? Why not multiple? Precisely to hold us liable on Judgment Day with regards to unity. That God is going to say, you were all of that one generation. How dare you belittle yourselves? And here the yourselves is metaphorical from the perspective that when we look down on the human race, we are looking down on ourselves because our origin is that human race. Now what does Allah reply Iblis? قَالَ فَخْرُجْ مِنْهَا فَإِنَّكَ رَجِيمٌ. God says, get out of this status, for surely you are driven away. وَإِنَّ عَلَيْكَ اللَّعْنَةَ إِلَى يَوْمِ الدِّينِ. And you are cursed until the day of judgment. So you think you and I can be bigots and get away with it? We can call people Amaleks, and we can call people, animals, and then we can invade their lands and kill them and think we're going to get away in the name of God that supposedly promised us this land? Impossible. In fact, the hypocrisy of this occupation is that they never follow the laws of God. The Constitution, that doesn't even, when it was ratified under Ben Gurion, you find that religious aspect was not even brought forth. It's an irony when we talk about occupation in the name of God that has nothing to do with God. So when genocide takes place today, it is people like Iblis who are arrogant, who defy God, and don't believe that there is liability and an eternal judgment upon them. People who commit crimes, you will notice that when they're atheistic, and I want to bring a quick principle into this, atheism is extremely dangerous, and I'll explain it why, very briefly, without taking too much time. If I study AI today, I was having a discussion yesterday actually with an AI expert who's developing many applications and asking me, what's the difference? I said, AI has no liability. AI can be very super intelligent, but it lacks liability. The human race is liable. Now, what does that mean? It means that when you die, your soul in your life continues forever. And God did not create you and me on this earth just for this earth. It makes no sense. For a merciful God will never create a human race where children can die in the wombs of their mothers or can be shot indiscriminately and they leave this world. It makes no sense. For the mercy of God has to prevent such killing unless there's another life that's superior to this where you don't die. And Allah says, يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. On that day, nothing will help you. Not your family, not your wealth, not your family, except hearts that are tranquil. And hearts don't become tranquil unless they have consciousness of God. أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ. And I don't care what faith you belong to, my respected Christians, Jews, Hindus, whatever, who believes in God and has the trajectory of the infinite, has this reality of realization that this individual says, I am liable for my actions today. But atheism, the danger of it is it all stops when you die. Now let me give you a quick philosophy, and I want you to ponder on that. You will notice that when something is good, any natural good, when you say this is good, like loving somebody, your parents, for example, loving your children is good. Charity is good. But what makes it good? It's because that good is eternal. If it lacks eternity, it is not good. A quick example. If I say to you, I will be honest with you. Honesty is a good act. But I'll be honest with you for 10 years. 10 years, I'll be honest. I ask the question, then am I really honest now? He says, yeah, you're honest. You're honest with me. You will stop being honest in 10 years. Is it good? You notice even the 10 years has been negated. Because the minute you take honesty and break it into time, honesty has no good. Evil is short-lived, but good is eternal. when you love somebody, when you give charity, it's eternal. And the eternity is impossible without God. For God is the only eternal being. It's fascinating to me when I study this, that people who are what we call Machiavellian in their ideas like Le Miao, deep down in their hearts, they don't believe they'll be liable. Stalin stayed. When you kill the first person, it's murder. After that, it's a statistic. So when you had that kind of a policy, you become a monstrosity. And the Quran warns us of that if you reject the day of judgment and the liability that you hold, then you will become a vicious individual. Allah says, "Jalla alladhina amanu walladhina hadu wan nasara was-sabi'in man amana billahi wal yawmil akhir wa amila salihan falahu ajrun inda rabbihim la khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun." The Quran is the only book that I know, divine scripture, that mentions Jews, Christians, Sabians by name and addresses all of them, and addresses believers and non-believers and disbelievers in the Quran, and he addresses them strategically for each one to give me the scope of understanding of God's divine system. That in this verse it says, indeed, the believers, the Jews, the Christians, the Sabians, provided you believe in one God and the day of judgment and do good deeds, la khawfun alayhim, there is no fear for you. Walahum yahzanun, you should not have any worry. God says, I am going to bless you under those principles. So why is the day of judgment so important? Because it contains us. It makes us understand that our actions today have reactions today and tomorrow. And the Quran states, who are the ones who will be flung in hell? The ones who didn't believe. In Surah Al-Mulk, you'll find the ones who are being flung in hell, the Quran describes it graphically. The angels are asking, Alam ya'atikum nadhir? As they are about to be flung in hell, Alam ya'atikum nadhir? Didn't a warner come to you? Alu bala, qad ja'ana nadhirun fakadhabna. Yes, they did, but when they came to reveal to us the message and how we should behave on this earth, we belied them. Fakadhabna, like Jesus alayhi salam. When he turned the tables in the Temple of Solomon, when he spoke in public, people belied him. But he was nothing but the truth. The Holy Prophet was the same. Prophet Ibrahim was the same. Prophet Musa was the same. I also want to make a quick point. I don't know if it's misinformation or disinformation, and I'd heard it even among Muslims. Islam, the religion, is not, and I repeat, is not 14 centuries old. Please stop saying this. It's a lie. We're not a 14th century old religion. We're the youngest of the Abrahamics. I said, go to school and learn something, please. Adam in Islam was a prophet of God. So what 14th centuries are you talking about? This is disinformation to try to create this notion that there was some concoction in Mecca that happened by a man who had a vision of God and starting a new religion called Islam. No, Ibrahim was a Muslim. Noah was a Muslim. Adam and his wife were Muslims. Allah in the Quran clearly states they were all Muslims before you. Just the completion of the message happened 14 centuries ago. Meaning, when the message was completed, الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. That today we have completed this mission, which started with Adam as the first human being and the first prophet of God. But the lesson of Iblis, being the racist that he was, says to God, for the izzatika la'ughwiyannahum ajma'in. By your authority, I will beguile and cause fitna on them, meaning I'm going to create trouble. Now today we have billionaires, actually even trillionaires. Elon Musk is on the verge of being a multi-trillionaire. These people are unethical. They name their children with equations. They have a serious problem here. They can't get it right, and they think they're smart. Even when Zohran Mamdani was running for mayor, he said he's a swindler. When Joe Rogan asked him, define swindler, he was stuck for 30, 40 seconds, like, I mean, you're the genius behind a lot of these inventions, and you can't figure it out. So what is with the trillions? You know, when Zohar was running, 99% was against him. And he gets Cuomo gets 700,000 votes. Who primarily voted for him? Those same oligarchs, the rich billionaires who want to create trouble on earth. They want to create trouble. And if you study oligarchy, it's chaos. It's chaos-driven. Drive chaos. Make people broken and then rule them with fear. Shaitan is the same. His principle is the same. So I cannot stress the gravity of unity among believers and in the whole human race. Imam Ali alayhi salam says to Malik Ashtab, he says, when you rule over Egypt, know there are two groups of people under you. One is your brethren in faith, and the others are your equal in humanity. Treat with them the way you should. Even Kofi Annan said, those are the protocols of peace in the Middle East. The letter written by Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam 14 centuries ago. But we are oblivious of this fact, and as a Muslim nation, we're complicit sometimes by our silence. Gaza would not happen if the Muslim countries and the neighbors did not participate in this genocide, with all due respect. And I wish to honestly express my gratitude for this gathering and the words that I heard. You know, we talk about Holocaust. Dr. Pepper said something very interesting. Holocaust for the Palestinians. True. But you know what triggered me the most? Was that the ones who are committing the Holocaust are the ones who are claiming they were the victims of the Holocaust. This is a bit paradoxical, isn't it? It's ironic. It's ironic that if you are the recipient of the Holocaust, you should have the most compassion. And why are you taking somebody's land that had nothing to do with your Holocaust? Tell the Europeans to go and pay the price. But no, everybody shrugs their shoulders and says, we've got the mighty dollar, we've got the power, we've got the billions, and I'm killing it. But as it speaks with the recent election in New York, you can speak your mind and not have to go and bow as a sycophant to anybody out there who's running you, and they can pour billions. And the irony is, those billionaires spend more money fighting Zohar than the taxes they would have to pay when Zohar becomes the mayor. That's the irony of all this, isn't it? It's kind of interesting. So these are all facades. Oh, we're going to leave New York when a Muslim comes. You know, we're going to have Sharia law. I smile. I said, his mother is not a Muslim. I think he should put Sharia law on his mother first and his wife and his parent. This preposterous idea is designed to put fear. And Shaitan, Iblis said to God, I will create chaos. So my dear brothers and sisters, I sincerely say to us all, let's be liable. Our actions are being recorded. And God says, I will record everything. And in that verse I mentioned in Surah Al-Mulk, أَلَمْ يَأْتِكُمْ نَذِيرٌ قَالُوا بَلَىٰ قَدْ جَاءَنِي نَذِيرٌ فَكَذَّبْنَا وَقُلْنَا مَا نَزَّلَ اللَّهُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ إِنْ أَنْتُمْ إِلَّا فِي ضَلَالٍ كَبِيرٍ وَقَالُوا لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ أَوْ نَعْقِلُ مَا كُنَّا فِي أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. If only we listened carefully and paid attention mentally, we would not be in this situation today. Winston Churchill has gone. He was a monster. Kissinger was a monster. Dick Cheney was a monster. He engineered the whole Middle East battles and killings. They're 6 feet down. Can't we take lessons that when we walk with stiff necks, that we're going to be next and others will walk on our graves? Are we not aware of that fact? Some of us seem to be careless, thinking $1 billion I hope, the $1 billion I hope, that's my power. There is no power but with God. And when you and I perpetuate goodness on earth and see the human race as a blessing and see that this is the working of God, that He has created diversity. And God says the most honorable to God is the one who's God conscious. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. I firmly believe. And what I love now is the fact that the different groups of people who we marginalized yesterday are showing up at the doorsteps and say, we are here to fight together. May God give us that strength and may we change this democracy, which in my opinion it's what we call a republic. You know, the United States is a republic democracy. It's run by the people. And we should not be coy to fear or fear-mongering. And let's pay attention that we certainly don't want to be in the footsteps of the devil, who God condemned that moment and had no compunctions whatsoever that he had worshipped God for thousands of years. So if you and I claim that, oh, I'm a worshiper of God, you know, I believe in God, but I'm a racist, I'm a bigot, I look down on the creation of God, God says, I don't negotiate. I wipe out all your deeds. But on the flip side, you turn and unite the human race for the love of God. How merciful is God. He says, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. What I love about Islam is everybody's innocent until proven guilty. May God bless you and bless this organization, continue the good work. And as my dear respected brother Sammy mentioned, you definitely need to run for this position that's opening up. Honestly, you have my vote. Although I'm not in the state of Michigan, you owe my vote. I'm not in New Jersey, they have my vote. As he mentioned, really, we need to fill these positions. We need to show the world that we're not here to promote religious bigotry or promote a religion over other religions. We're here to promote good for all of humanity. And that's what matters. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much for those inspiring words. I'm reminded in one of the verses of the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do you think that you will enter paradise while such a trial has not befallen you? When those before you were touched by a trial, they were touched by poverty, hardship, they were shaken, even their messenger said, where is the help of God? You know, in these times, we see a lot of difficulty, we see a lot of trials. People before us struggle, people right now are struggling, people will continue to struggle. But it is our responsibility to turn toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, turn toward God, to turn toward our values, to guide us through these challenges. And I think that was an excellent way to give us that mission as we conclude our program. The end of that verse says, indeed the help of Allah is near. Indeed the help of God is near. So if you stick with the right principles, if you stick with the right morals, if you find those individuals amongst you, that you have those morals in common, but if you unite on that common front, if you become one, then victory is near. The help of God is near. So with that, I would like to conclude today's program. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much for coming here on this weekend day. And again, we're about to break bread together. Thank you so much for allowing us to open our doors to you. If you're not from this community, thank you so much for sharing your words with us. You're one of our speakers. You all did an excellent job, and I'm very pleased to have been able to learn from all of you. That being said, dinner will be served in the back. Please feel free to join us for dinner. Please mingle amongst yourselves, and thank you so much for coming. And let us continue this mission as we leave today.